powered by Riverside FM.
Man, it's a good time to be a Minnesota Viking fans. I think all of UP Nation out there, the Purple Gang, Skull Nation, I think all of you can agree, man. This feels really, really good. It feels really, really nice where our team is right now, the direction in which we are headed. But a lot of people have been asking me, and I've been in various conversations for the past couple of weeks, how good are the Vikings? How close are the Vikings to winning a Super Bowl? That is the ultimate prize. Like, we've been good before. We've gotten close before. We've been right there on the precipice of getting across the finish line, getting to that Super Bowl. I think that's actually what everybody wants. And everything looks good. You know, obviously I've gone through a lot of the stuff, talking about all the upgrades and heralding J.J. McCarthy and Brian Flores and KOC and his system. You know, but the question just becomes, again, man, how close are we? Are we an elite football team? Are we a good football team? Pretty good football team? And if you talk to some people that cover the NFL, national guys like Colin Cowherd, you know, those guys think we're going to be absolutely garbage. But when you talk about Super Bowl teams and teams that get to the Super Bowl, man, there's just a lot of variables that come into play. It's more than just what you look like on paper. Like right now on paper, the Minnesota Vikings look pretty damn good, but it's much more than that. And as those of you that watch a lot of NFL football knows that when you are in the throes of an NFL playoff season, there's just a lot of things that have to go your way. I could argue that the Minnesota Vikings team back in 1998, when you had Randall Cunningham, you had Chris Carter, you had Jake Reed, you had Randy Moss, you had Robert Smith, you had the crew. And I don't think that there was any question that the Minnesota Vikings were the best team in the league. I mean, they set numerous records on offense. They had a pretty good defense. They had the sheriff, Denny Green, as head coach. Man, like everything was set up for them to be that team. Finally, the Minnesota Vikings team will break through. This was a team that I think across the board, everybody was talking about this team is unstoppable. This team is going to win the Super Bowl. And we had a couple of mistakes in that NFC Championship game that cost us. Missed a crucial field goal. That still pains me to this day. So there's a lot of variables that come into play in terms of, are we that Super Bowl team? Like, a lot of things have to hit. Like, on paper, we've got the wide receiver group. We got Addison. We got Justin Jefferson. Got T.J. Hockenson. Man, that's a top three combination in the league. We got a healthy Aaron Jones, and we got Jordan Mason that adds depth to our running back room. Upgrade on the offensive line, Ryan Kelly, Donovan Jackson, Will Fries, blah, 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 Kevin O'Connell. Doing a really good job as a head coach. 14-game winning streak last season. Not winning streak, but 14 wins, I should say, last season. And then you have the continuity between coaches, man. We didn't have a whole lot of coaches leaving. Everything hinges on, in my opinion, with how – I don't think he's the only reason, but I think a lot of it hinges on how good can J.J. McCarthy be. I think for me, where I am, I think it's safe to say that J.J. McCarthy over a longer stint of time is going to be one hell of a quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. The question is, how good will he be in 2025? Like, what is good for J.J. McCarthy? That's going to be a big, big thing. Vikings passed on Kirk Cousins. They passed on Aaron Rodgers. They passed on a lot of different options, Daniel Jones for J.J. McCarthy. So he's got to hit somewhat. I don't think J.J. McCarthy can be terrible and the Vikings have success. J.J. McCarthy is at least going to have to be average to good for the Minnesota Vikings to have some success. I do think the Minnesota Vikings front office sees a 3-year window. And I kind of see that 3-year window as well. I think the key intangible here that people don't realize that is crucial for the Minnesota Vikings is this. Let's just say that J.J. McCarthy is average. Well, the biggest value that he brings is that he can be an average quarterback and still be under that rookie scale contract. And the Minnesota Vikings have multiple contractual options, flexibility in free agency, flexibility with trades because they have a lot of money that they now can allocate to the rest of their team. UP Nation, Skull Nation, Purple Gang, you guys have no idea how crucial that is. You guys have no idea. A couple of years ago, when Kwesi made the decision to walk away from Kirk Cousins and that big guaranteed contract and not to re-sign him, that, my friends, was the start of everything. And it will be the main reason why the Minnesota Vikings eventually win the Super Bowl within the next 3 years. It will be the main reason why. There's going to be other factors. J.J. McCarthy may hit. The defense may be lights out. The running game may be enhanced. Offense, whatever you want to put on the table. The main reason why all of those things will come into place is because Kwesi Adofo-Mensah decided to tell Kirk Cousins no. And so now we're able to build around that. I think with any Super Bowl team, I think you have to have a stout defense. And I think, obviously, you guys know how I feel about Brian Flores. I think we've got that in place with Brian Flores, the way he's able to teach his schemes, the player personnel that he's adding to this team to help our defense becomes better. I think this is going to be the first year where Brian Flores is about 90 to 95% where he wants to be in terms of personnel. I think down the pipe, we're going to get a stout cornerback back there at some point. High caliber, shutdown corner. I don't know if it's going to be this year. Maybe next year, maybe the year after that. But eventually that's coming, and that's going to help B-Flow's defense. We have that in place. And the continuity is important. I think all bets would be off right now on the defensive side of the ball if Brian Flores had gotten something else out there in the NFL in terms of being a head coach. The Super Bowl, man, there's just so many variables. Like, you can have everything set up on paper, but then you talk about injuries. You're talking about guys that you expected to have great years, have down years. You know, we are speculating that Brian Flores' defense is going to be better than it's been the previous 2 years. In the previous 2 years, looking at the personnel, I really don't have any problems with his defense. I know there are some people out there that are pretty hard on him. But, man, what he walked into, did he turn that around? He turned that around really, really quick. So the Super Bowl, man, is just not about what's on paper. Like, a lot of things have to hit. How close are we? I think we're close. But even once we have everything aligned the way we want to, all things have to hit at the same time. And one bad decision, one bit of bad luck, we've seen it. The Brett Favre's first year, man, how dominant we were pretty much throughout the season. Brett Favre throws across his body against the New Orleans Saints and throws a pick, and everything is kind of throws away. We've been through those heartbreaks. So I don't think it's as easy as saying, hey, we've got the personnel, we've got the defense, we've got the offensive line, we've got the quarterback, that we're automatically going to win a Super Bowl. But here's what I'm comfortable in saying. I think this next season, the 2025 season, UP Nation, is kind of a feel-out. It's kind of a feel-out because I think this is really the first time where KOC is getting close to what he wants his team to look like. I am speculating, looking at what the Rams did. I just think KOC wants to run the ball a little bit more. So I think more than any of the years that he's been here, I think you're going to see him push that envelope just a little bit more, just a little bit more. I'm not saying that they're going to be Harbaugh and the Chargers, but I do think you're going to see a difference there. I think you're going to see a difference in a lot of screen game for the Minnesota Vikings this year, just until J.J. McCarthy gets his feet wet. I think the defense is going to carry the weight somewhat for the first part of the 2025 season. And then the big X factor is going to be, how good is J.J. McCarthy going to be in the first 8 games of his career? I am just glad, as I said before, those first 5 games that he has are those first 5 games that's on his schedule. Because after that, it's a gauntlet, and he's got to be ready. So I think we're close. How close? I look at this thing in a 3-year window. I think within 3 years, the Minnesota Vikings are going to have their opportunity to play for a Super Bowl. And once they get to that level where they have the opportunity, they got to kick down the door. And everything has to align, and everything has to be there. But, man, this is a great time to be a Minnesota Vikings fan. Like, enjoy this time, Minnesota Vikings fans. Everything is perfect. Everything is going into the right direction. I'm telling you, enjoy it. Man, this has been Unconventional Playbook. I appreciate you tuning in. Please take the time to hit that like button. Just takes a second. Hit that like button. And as always, Purple Gang, Skull Nation, UP Nation, we will see ya when we see ya. Skull.